in about a minute. There we go. Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I'm the CEO of the Chamber. So we're going to start recording this and streaming it live on Facebook. This is our Government Affairs and Economic Development First Friday Forum. And our co-host, obviously, is David Beal, and he's going to be taking over completely at 9 o'clock when Dave Aronberg comes on, because Sarah Maxfield and I have to Zoom off to another meeting, which is the Tourism Task Force. And we meet every other month, and we're live streaming now. So she and I will be Zooming off to the Tourism Task Force at 9 o'clock. So, and Dave Aronberg is going to be joining us at 9, because I think he has another priority of CNN or something like that. He's always on some national program in the mornings, but he'll be joining us at 9 o'clock. So we can't wait to hear from him. So we're going to flip it around today and do our partner report. So I'm glad to see so many partners we have on the call. We have Jeff Orris, who's the Assistant City Manager that some of you may have not met yet. Sarah Maxfield, Economic Development Director. We're going to hear from Kent Edwards from the Sustainability Department. He's going to give us an update on Earth Day. We've got Renee Jadising from the CRA. And we do have some other partners from the county, such as Steve Weissman from the Property Appraiser's Office and Michael Corbett from Career Source. We'll probably get a chance to hear from all of them this morning before we get to hear from Dave Aronberg. So David, should I just start quickly with the Chamber update? I'm going to. Okay, so Sarah, if you could flip the slides up quickly, and we'll just let you know what's going on with the Chamber and the month of March, and the first week in April. We'll tell you a little bit about what's going on with Delray Affair.
Steph, I think we should just explain and apologize. We're starting a half hour late today because our star speaker, Dave Aronberg, star of Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office and CNN and MSNBC, could not join us till 9 after his commitments to television. So we had to move to 8:30 to 9:30 today. And thank you, everybody, for indulging us in a different time slot.
I like the later time slot personally, but that's just me.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
set this up for 8 a.m. I don't know. So anyway, I'll give you a quick update on what's going on with the Chamber. We've already had a couple events already this week, but next week we're going to kick it off with the Chairman's Club Happy Hour. This year with Chairman's Club, we're skipping every other month. We're going to do a happy hour versus a lunch. So different Chairman's Club members will be able to join us. So this one is going to be on March 9th at 5:30 at Sunday House at the Star Bar. So we're excited to get our Chairman's Club members together in a relaxed format. So that'll be fun. The Real Estate Roundtable is also next week. Christina Morrison, who's on the call right now, do you want to give a quick update of what they can expect to see on Real Estate Roundtable? Not to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We'll be meeting at Sklar Furnishings, which is exciting because they have such beautiful showroom and beautiful furnishings to show us. They also offer a realtor program of move-in gifts for your clients, for the realtor's clients. So we'll be talking about that. We have Steve Weissman from the Property Appraiser's Office updating us on what's going on with our property values. They can't give us any hard facts right now, but they can tell us some trends. We have BlackRock Title talking all about what's going on with title insurance and other factors affecting closings in Florida right now, which are many. And then I'll be giving a market overview for Palm Beach County and Delray Beach on how we're doing in the various markets, residential, commercial, and industrial. So please join us at Sklar Furnishings at 9:30 on Thursday, March 10th. Thanks, Steph.
Thanks, Christina. No, that's always good. I always love hearing your updates on the real estate market. It's always illuminating, even if you're not in the real estate industry. It's a really interesting thing to attend. So thank you, Christina. We're starting a brand new program called Chamber U. It's going to be March through December this year. So it's an educational opportunity for our members. It's going to be at the Chamber. It's going to be on Friday during lunchtime, once a month. So we're going to kick it off with Bridges Consulting. It'll be, no, 3 Bridges Consulting, sorry. Dennis Williams is going to be giving a talk. It's entitled Pictures Worth 1,000 Leads, but he's a really good branding professional. So we've got lunch sponsored by Chick-fil-A, which would be great. And this is super. If you come early and during the time period, we're going to have free headshots by Ethan Dangerwing from Master Wing Creative. So all attendees will be able to get a free headshot. It's really important that you present yourself in a professional manner. So that's a wonderful opportunity available for you. And it's only $15 a person to attend. So we're kicking off Chamber U on March 18th at 11:30 a.m. and we'll hope you join us. You can sign up for any of these events actually through delraybeach.com/events. Contacts and Cocktails. This is exciting. It's going to be at the Warren out in West Delray. That's a really trendy, brand new, wonderful restaurant and bar. And it's going to be on Tuesday, March 22nd. We normally have them on Thursdays. This time it will be Tuesday because we really wanted to go to the Warren and they could accommodate us on that day. So there'll be light bites and cocktails and we're very excited to be out there. So you can register obviously at delraybeach.com and please join us for Contacts and Cocktails. We're actually, and I'll tell you about this in a minute. Oh, go ahead. Did you have something to say?
Well, I just want to tell people if they don't know that the Warren probably has the largest selection of bourbon in the county or maybe South Florida. So if you're a bourbon fan, you should definitely plan on coming to the Warren.
Yeah, it's fabulous. We're really excited about that. And then our young professionals always have a social. It's usually the last Wednesday of the month. And this time it's going to be at Hopportunities. So definitely sign up to join the young professionals at Hopportunities. And I also am very excited to talk about this. The Delray Affair is going to be in Delray. Yay, again, after a couple of years of not being able to do it due to COVID, we're back with our 60th anniversary of the Delray Affair. It's so amazing. And it's going to be a 60s vibe, flower power theme, as you can see. And one of the most important things about this year is we want to involve the whole community. So we've done a lot of outreach with the restaurants and the merchants and the attractions and the hotels, all in the downtown area and further afield. And a lot of them have come up with great offers that the attendees can enjoy. So we're producing a brochure this year, which we'll be distributing soon. And it highlights everything that's going on for the whole weekend. So it has the whole lineup of who's going to be on the main stage at the beer garden. There's going to be a kids zone down at Veterans Park. And we've got a lot of people working together to bring a lot of activities for kids on that during that time period as well. And obviously when you check out the brochure and the website and our social media posts, you'll see all the different specials, the drink specials. I think Crane's Beach House, Kathy's on this, you get a free bottle of bubbly when you book and mention Delray Affair. So we're going to have a great time this year. We're involving the entire community and we're telling the story of the Delray Affair. So Laura Simon's dad, Roy Simon, was the chairman of the chamber when this started. And he was one of the original founders of the Delray Affair, which was originally the Gladiola Festival. So if you check out Atlantic Ave magazine this month, he's written a great article about the history of the Delray Affair and how it started. So please check that out in Atlantic Ave magazine and join us on April 8th through 10th. Next week, the whole team's going to be going door to door to all of the restaurants and merchants on Atlantic Avenue, just letting them know about the event and how to get involved and how it works with the street closures and the parking. So all that information you can find on delrayfair.com as well. And don't forget to join us for Delray Morning Live every Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. I wanted to mention that this week coming up, prior to our event at the Warren, we're going to be filming at the Warren. And thanks to Carrie Morrissey from Ocean Properties, one of our guests is going to be Bobby Collins, who's a nationally known comedian. So that's going to be a very fun morning. So we really want you to join us for Delray Morning Live. I think it's on March 9th. And you'll get to hear all about, is it March 9th, Sarah? It's next week, right? Next week we'll be at the Warren. So definitely join Delray Morning Live. It'll be a laugh. More than it normally is. And if you'd like to be on Delray Morning Live and have us come to your location, you can definitely book it. Go to sarah@delraybeach.com and we can talk to you about being a sponsor host for Delray Morning Live. We go all around the town and highlight our different businesses. We're also going to be going in the near future over to the Bella Reina Spa and featuring those businesses over on George Bush who've been terribly affected by all of the construction that's going on. So we definitely want to highlight those businesses and you're going to get to hear from them too week after next. So that's all I have for a chamber update. We want you to join us at all of our events. We're really excited about what we have coming up, especially the Delray Affair. But I'm going to turn it over to David if you want to start checking in with our partners and hearing what they have going on.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. That was a great update. So much going on in our chamber. You're really keeping us all very busy and occupied. So I'd like to first go to Chief Sims, who hasn't been with us in a few months, and we really would like to hear, Chief, what's going on with the city and safety and health and welfare of us all.
Absolutely.
Chief, you still there?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm pleased to announce that we ended 2021 with approximately 20% decrease in crime here in the city, which is amazing. Currently, we're down approximately 8% so far this year. But we're still experiencing a number of overdoses throughout the city. We ended 2021 with 280 overdoses, which is down from the previous year of 373. We administered Narcan 20 times this year. We've had 47 overdoses so far here in 2022. So we're still dealing with that issue. So let's not forget about that. I mean, with this pandemic, I think that kind of got swept to the side to some respect. But I say this, it's still an issue, not just here in the city of Delray Beach, but throughout the county and the country as well. So let's not lose sight of that, and let's continue to do the things that we need to do to try to alleviate those issues as much as we possibly can. But I must recognize the community, because crime is down, not due just to our efforts, but it's also due to the residents here in the city of Delray Beach, because they're getting more involved in what's taking place in their neighborhoods and in the Delray community by calling the police officers more readily, more often, and getting involved in their neighborhood associations, getting involved in the city as a whole has made a tremendous difference. So I applaud the residents here in the city of Delray Beach, and I ask that you continue to do the same. One issue that we continue to deal with also is trucks driving down East Atlantic Avenue. We've done over a 2-year educational process trying to eliminate that as much as we possibly can. We're sort of at our wits' end dealing with that. So as of today, we basically going to have pretty much a zero tolerance regarding trucks driving down the avenue. So we're probably going to be more likely than not issuing citations under those circumstances. But also we're trying to work with DOT, Missy and I are trying to work with DOT, trying to get signs that will be stationed farther west, so trucks can see the signs prior to approaching Switten, because the first sign that says no trucks on Avenue, East Atlantic Avenue, is on the east side of Switten and East Atlantic Avenue. And sometimes once they approach that area with an 18-wheeler, it's almost too late to turn around. But with that being said, it's a major issue and a concern that we continue to deal with. So we're in the process now trying to eliminate that from taking place altogether. Other than that, unless someone have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Thank you for being here, and thanks for all you do, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go to some city partners on the city. Kent, are you still there? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. And my camera is not giving a very good picture, so I'm going to turn that off. But thank you very much. And first, I wanted to introduce Mary Wozni. I think most of y'all have had an opportunity to meet Mary, but she is the new Assistant Sustainability Planner, and she's doing a great job working on a lot of the events that I'm going to describe. First of all, we have coming up on March 24th, a tree inventory public meeting. This is the continuing effort to meet a 10,000 trees to be planted to raise our tree canopy up to 28% level. So we have completed a tree inventory, collecting data on all of the trees on city and public properties there are 10,599 trees. So we have species and size and condition information that will feed into budget and maintenance. Also have planting sites. So this meeting on March 24th is going to be at Pompey Park, and we're going to give a summary of that information. Really exciting effort, and is going to feed into continuing efforts to grow that tree canopy. So we're going to get our advertising out on that starting in a week or so, and just got scheduled for Delray Morning Live on the 23rd to talk about that also. So hopefully the community will come out. On March 31st, we are going to have an outreach event at the Swinton Operations Center targeted at developers, and have invited representatives from 2 of the green building certification agencies that are used more on smaller developments, and really excited to have representatives from Home Innovation Laboratories and also from the Florida Green Building Coalition and credentialed professionals that work in multiple green building programs. And just going to go through what those programs are, several examples in the South Florida area, talk about costs and procedures, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout there and can get some good information out about how applying a green building ordinance really works. And then looking forward to April, we have gone through a couple of iterations of what we were planning for Earth Day, but I think that we have a couple of events that are going to target plastic in a really good way. So on April 22nd, Mary Wozni and I are going to be going down Atlantic Avenue and visiting with restaurants and bars, and providing information that we gathered and used in our green business certification program, but we have reorganized that into a one-pager for alternatives to plastic. So there are several local distributors and manufacturers that have products that are more sustainable than plastic. They're either compostable or have a lot of information on straws that meet the straw ban, trying to help businesses make that move to using other kinds of plastics. So I'm going to offer that information, ask for feedback on what they use, and also we're looking to be technical support as it may be if there are questions about products and that kind of thing. And if we can work with the chamber as y'all are going around and talking to businesses, then that would be great. I was very interested to hear that. Then on the 23rd at the Green Market, we are going to have a booth and have invited several of the distributors that have plastic alternatives to come with us. They're going to have samples, and I think that it'll be a great opportunity to hopefully have the community and also businesses come by and see these are the products that can actually be used, and see face to face the distributors. So everybody is interested in reducing plastic waste, but the bottom line is how do we make that transition? And so we're trying to target an important industry and also get product information in their hands. And that's it, unless y'all have questions.
Any questions for Kent? Thank you, Kent. If there are specific ways you want us, the chamber, to help you, please let me know, and we can certainly talk about it in a committee meeting offline.
Okay, we'll do. We're getting that advertisement together, so it'll be a good time.
And we'd like to meet Mary also.
Okay, well, Mary's on.
Well,
Mary?
I mean, in person,
Oh, okay.
There used to be a thing called like seeing people in flesh, not in video. So we'd like to get back to that.
Good.
Personal
Sounds
touch.
good.
If Mary has a report that she wants to add, she can certainly go on. Mary, you have anything to add?
No, I'm good. Kent covered everything. Just thanks for having me and looking forward to working with all of you.
Great. Welcome to the city of Delray. Okay, let's go to Alyssa from Planning and Zoning. Alyssa?
Hi.
Elizabeth, yeah.
Hi.
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
It's okay. All right, so I'm going to send in the chat the March projects, or well, the February projects that were submitted. So we had a just like a triplex townhouse over on 917 Northeast 8th Avenue. And then also a project called the Alexan Delray, which is a 268 unit, 5-story multifamily residential building on South Congress Avenue, which they're currently zoned MROC, and they are pursuing a rezoning to the Special Activities District in order to facilitate that request. So those were the new larger projects that were submitted in February. And I also just wanted to let everybody know that the Sunday Village project was approved at the Historic Preservation Board on Wednesday night. So that's a long time coming. And that's my update.
Thank you. Any questions for Planning and Zoning? Okay, let's go, staying with the city of Delray Beach. Jeff Orris, I haven't met you yet, but welcome, and I hope to meet you at the chamber real soon.
I'm sure you'll get a chance to do that soon. And hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Orris. I'm the relatively new assistant city manager here at Delray Beach. I've been with the city for about 2 months now. Don't really have any update on anything at this time. Just to introduce myself and look forward to seeing everybody at some of the functions and be able to tell you a little bit more about my background, what's going on. I'm keeping it short because I also have to run in just a couple of minutes myself. So
We're going to have Jeff on as a guest for the First Friday Forum in the near future. We're trying to work out a date because he's hit the ground running for sure, but his background is absolutely amazing, everyone. He's not only has he run a CRA, you know, he's worked in different cities before. Did you work in a DDA too? I think in a chamber. I mean, you've done it all.
I worked in the chamber, not a DDA, but for the
Okay.
Coral Springs Chamber many years ago.
Yeah, so he's ran a CRA, worked in a chamber, worked for other cities. I mean, he's got it all. So I can't wait for you to learn more about him. And we're going to have this guest in the next month or two, right?
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right, staying with the city, Sarah Maxwell, do you have a report, or would you like to pass?
I don't, well, I was going to pass and let Jeff, because I thought Jeff would speak a little bit more, but the one thing I will mention to this group, which is of interest, is that we are bringing back the We Heart Small Business in May. We're celebrating, and you as the chamber, Stephanie, and several other partners are working on a month of kind of events to celebrate all of our small businesses, which is really most of our businesses here in Delray. So we will be working on that, and you'll see more about that as we move forward. So excited about that. And good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and thanks for having me. I'm gonna move on to my next meeting, but it's great to see everybody, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'll join you as soon as I can, Sarah. I'm just going to do a few things. Sorry, but I'll be on that call with you in a few minutes. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so let's move on to the city partners, the CRA. Renee Jettison, are you still on, Renee?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Few updates from the CRA. So I'll start with business development activities. So starting tonight, we have First Friday Art Walk at the Arts Warehouse. So please come and join us. You know, something that everyone knows, but I don't think we talk about a lot, are the resident artists. So we have about 14 or 15 artists who that's their studio and their business space. So those are, while they just look like studios, that those are actually small businesses too. So come out, support them, come and check out their artwork. They're really great, you know, Delray businesses that I just wanted to highlight. Also, tomorrow is the Green Market, and we recently launched the SNAP program. That's a supplemental nutrition assistance program. at the Green Market. It's one of the only green markets and one of few in the state of Florida that has that program. It's a federal program for food assistance. And we were lucky enough to receive a grant called FAB. So that is a addition to SNAP. You can get 40 extra free SNAP dollars to spend. We were approved for that. It was a competitive process, and we just got the award early in January, and now we're implementing it starting tomorrow. So if you know anybody who's on the program, please tell them to come out. It's a great opportunity to get fresh access to produce and also to support our local farmers, because that money goes directly to them. Also, we recently launched the Crafted on the Ave. So that is also another small business program that we're trying to encourage at Libby Wesley Plaza. So that we're doing tomorrow. We're doing it month to month. We're trying to kick it off and make it a monthly thing. So far we've got 3 months in. We're going to also do it in April, but those are crafters, a lot of them local. And we're trying to do 2 things: support the small businesses, but also activate Libby Wesley Plaza. It usually doesn't have a lot going on there, but since we've launched this, I've started to see activity between Libby Wesley Plaza and Caesar's Barbecue across the street on days that we have Crafted on the Ave. So I'm hoping that we can start stirring up a little bit of nice positive energy in that on Libby Wesley. So that's tomorrow from 1 to 4 o'clock. And switching over to construction development. Hatcher Construction, there was a groundbreaking that we had in December. He's building a 2-story buildings, what will be his corporate offices on the Northwest 600 block. And this project is very significant. It is a local minority-owned business right here in Delray Beach, and he's building in West Atlantic. So he signifies one of the first businesses to be developing out of the ground on West Atlantic Avenue. We've been really everyone wanting construction there, and it was done by a local person. So he's now 2 stories up. We're hoping he'll be finished probably in the summertime. So that's something to also celebrate, is Hatcher Construction having his corporate office here as a local small business that's growing his company here in Delray. And last, I'll leave with the workforce housing. Carver Square is a 20 single family homes that we're working with Pulte Homes to develop in the Southwest neighborhood. And so we're happy to report the home lots were sold, and there is construction going on there right now. They're pouring the foundation for about 5 homes. And those lots, as you know, have been vacant for many, many years. So those are going to be 20 workforce housing homes for 20 new families that will be coming to Delray Beach. And that's all I have.
Wow. Thanks, Renee. Any questions for our great CRA leader? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for coming on. Is anybody from the DDA on? I didn't see anybody. Okay, Steve Weissman, can you give us an update on what's going on in your very busy office and the county?
Thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. Christina alluded to this, and I'm going to talk more about it at the Real Estate Roundtable next Thursday, but I'm sure everybody knows values are going crazy, as are especially rents. And I'm going to talk about some of that and how much it is. I'll give you an example. Palm Beach County for the state of Florida had the largest net in-migration of people, mostly from the Northeast, which doesn't surprise anybody. And rents are pretty much through the roof. I'm also going to talk about a little legislation that's going on in Tallahassee that may positively or negatively affect things. We won't know until they shake out. So come on Thursday if you want to know more.
It's a teaser, Steve. It's a teaser. I don't like teasers. Okay, so Michael Corbett, do you want to give us a quick update?
Sure, very good. Unemployment is very low, 3.3%. We're approaching pre-pandemic levels, which is good. Strong industries, healthcare, finance, trades, and manufacturing, all are hiring. We have thousands of open jobs across the county. As a follow-up to the Claim Your Future Showcase for high school students, we'll be conducting a virtual internship expo on April 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll send that information to Stephanie so she can share it with the group, but that'll be a good opportunity for high school and college students to gain internships with local companies across Palm Beach County. So that's my update. Thank you, David.
Thank you for coming on and giving us a report, Steve. So now I see our star speaker is on our call, and I'd like to introduce Dave Aronberg, who is our state attorney for, what's it, 12 years now, Dave? I'm not sure. I lost count.
I'm in my 10th year.
10th year. Okay. Well, you're going to go at least 12, right? You have 2 more in your term.
Yeah, 2024. I'm up again. Correct.
Okay. I've known Dave since my daughter was a high school kid, and worked in his, is that your Senate campaign, or I forgot which campaign, House or Senate? And
Senate, state Senate.
Dave is a graduate of Harvard, and really a fantastic state attorney. And he's helped us a lot in Delray with our drug problems and our sober house problems in the past. And I'm really thrilled that he gave us the time to come and speak to us after appearing on MSNBC or CNN, or I don't know what star you're the TV show of now. But anyway, thanks for coming on. And please give us an update on all things going on in your office.
David, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be with you all. Yeah, I hope Alana is doing well. She was a star back then. I'm sure she's a star now.
Thank you. She is.
Yeah. I love this job as state attorney, and I'm grateful for all your support to get here. I was elected in 2012, and so I'm in my 3rd term. And maybe the best part about this job is there's no term limit here. And the governor is not my boss. The attorney general is not my boss. Since I'm an independent constitutional officer, my bosses are all of you. I'm looking at my bosses on the screen. And so that's why I love doing these things. And we have 5 offices around the county with our main office in downtown West Palm Beach. We have about 120 prosecutors, although right now, because of staffing issues like so many are facing, we're down to 107. We have, because of our staffing issues, about 275 cases per county court prosecutor. That's for misdemeanors, about 200 for every felony court prosecutor. And that is why I did a press conference the other day with Kathy Fernandez-Rundle down in Dade County and the state attorney in Monroe County. And we urged the legislature to please consider us when they are adding salary increases for law enforcement, which is all in the budget. And although that is, that's an important thing to increase the salaries of police, you do not properly fund the criminal justice system if you are only funding one part of it. In addition to the police who investigate the crimes, they work with us while they're investigating the crimes, and then they turn over to us to prosecute the crime. So if we're losing lawyers to the private sector left and right, or we can't get applicants, then that hurts the cause of justice. Then victims get hurt, because now you have a prosecutor in the courtroom who has 275 cases all at once. And now, because of resignations, because of salary, in this great resignation, you are having prosecutors face off against more experienced criminal defense lawyers. The criminal defense bar is paying a whole lot these days. And, we're never asking to pay equal to the private defense bar. We know the sacrifice this entails, but we just think that the salaries have gotten so out of whack right now that with this economy that, I've never seen anything like it. For example, we used to get 10 applicants for every 1 person we would accept. That was the norm until the past few months. Now we have at most 1 applicant for every 1 person. And we have all those vacancies now. And so this is a real problem, and Broward County is dealing with it. Dade County, they're all across the state, but especially South Florida. Just one other thing that is important to know is that we were able to hire 4 new prosecutors to our office in the past month, and all 4 of them had to decline after they applied to us, after they'd been accepted, because they couldn't find anywhere to live. So that's been a real problem with the housing market. So I say that to lead off with the biggest issue facing my office right now, and I'm working hard to deal with it, but I've never confronted something like this in my 10 years of state attorney. The other big issue is that I continue to focus on is the opioid epidemic, in particular, the corruption within the drug treatment and sober home industries. And that is an area where the city of Delray Beach they led the fight against this, because when I took office, a short time later, I met with people from the Delray Beach Chamber, and they told me that the sober home industry had become corrupted, and there were all these rogue sober homes popping up in their neighborhoods. And there was nothing that local government could do about it, because local government was tied, was hamstrung from the federal laws, namely the Americans with Disabilities Act, which restricted the ability of local governments to enact proper oversight over sober homes in their communities. And so they turned to us. So then we went to the legislature and got new laws passed, including the formation of a task force that allowed us to investigate, arrest, and prosecute rogue sober home and corrupted drug treatment providers for patient brokering, insurance fraud, all these other crimes that were just slaps on the wrist before, but we were able to clean house. And now, as a result, since October 2016, working with legitimate players of the industry, working with business leaders, we've been able to make 120 arrests, 93 convictions so far and counting. And the drug treatment and sober home industries have been largely cleaned up in our county, not fully, but largely. And the problem really is spread elsewhere, because why, if you wanted to make a quick buck off of insurance fraud and milking the Affordable Care Act by keeping people in a perpetual state of relapse instead of recovery, why would you do that in Palm Beach County, which is the only county in the country that is targeting corruption of the drug treatment industry? And again, the reason why we focused on it was because of leaders like you. And it's been perhaps our greatest success story. If you look around your neighborhoods, you don't see those rogue sober homes anymore. We still have sober homes. We need them because we're still in the midst of an unprecedented opioid epidemic. But the best sober homes are the ones you don't notice, the ones you don't see, the ones where ambulances are not coming to their door at all hours to take people to the hospital who just overdosed inside the so-called recovery residence. So that's why I'm very proud of that work. And despite all the issues we've been having with staffing and personnel, our conviction rate still is amongst the tops in the state. And I'm proud of that. And I would love to take your questions here now, because the best part about doing these speeches is hearing from the boss, and you guys are the boss. So with that, David, I turn it over back to you.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Any questions for Dave? Hey, Dave, any chance you prosecuting Putin for war crimes?
Yeah, one of the limitations of this job is that we only prosecute state crimes. So maybe The Hague can one day prosecute that criminal. But also we can't prosecute federal crimes either. So all the stuff going on in Washington, D.C., that's out of our jurisdiction as well.
Chief, do you have any questions for Dave? I know you work closely with him.
No, not necessarily a question, but just a quick comment. I would like to thank Attorney Aronberg for basically citing or fighting for that bond issue that came about just recently. So we truly appreciate the support that you gave us in addressing that issue as well. And other than continue to do what you're doing, I think you're doing an amazing job, and we truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. I really enjoy working with you. Chief Sims is doing an outstanding job. And we have, I gotta tell you, of all the law enforcement officers in the county, I think I work with Chief Sims as much as anyone. He's been very accessible. And so you're very fortunate to have him there.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Vivian DeMille. I am the chair for the Delray Chamber, but I'm also Chief Operating Officer to Henderson Behavioral Health, and in my past life, one of the partners at Chrysalis Behavioral Health. And so the issue of drug treatment and the issues in the county are particular of our I can't even talk this morning, are of particular importance to me. There we go. And I'm really grateful for the work you did at the time that bill came around, that really allowed us to, in Palm Beach County, to target these and that you championed came around. I happened to be on the executive committee and chairing a committee that was trying to put a bill through for the Florida Alcohol and Drug Abuse Association. So I was excited to see that the issue was going to be tackled, and I think you've done an amazing job with it. So thank you. And where do you see that we need to continue the efforts? Like, where do you see the issue is right now? I know we've done, I see it every day that you've done an incredible job by what we're seeing out there on the streets. You said you're going to continue to work on this issue. Is there anything in particular that you're working on moving forward related to that?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your nice words. We have a bill up in Tallahassee. It's a little bit technical, but every year we try to improve the laws in this area and also to allow more people to serve, for example, as peer counselors, because some of the laws, they were so weak in going after the rogue drug treatment centers and sober homes, but they were also kind of overly restrictive in trying to get people who have been through addiction and who have survived and want to give back to be peer counselors, for example. So, we allow people who have drug crimes in their past, to become peer counselors. Figure that out. Wow. You couldn't allow people who had some drug crimes in the past be peer counselors to counsel people to stay away from drugs. So we help fix that because that's who you get in that area. And, you want to get people who have turned their lives around to be able to give back. So, we've been working with the industry, good players like you who have the knowledge to help improve things. But here's the thing we're doing right now that I'm really proud of, in that we have an amendment to a bill that is on the Senate floor, I think right now, that would permit use of fentanyl test strips. Right now, the opioid epidemic is a fentanyl epidemic. 95% of all of our opioid overdose deaths have fentanyl in them. In fact, 95% of all drug overdose deaths involve fentanyl. Fentanyl is cheap, potent, and really deadly, and it comes mostly from China and in a lab. And it is being spiked into just about anything out there on the street: marijuana, cocaine, heroin. Congressman Ted Deutsch lost his 19-year-old nephew, Eli, who was a really good kid, a student at William and Mary. They lost him because he was taking kratom, which is a legal drug that's sold on all these kratom bars on the streets. It relaxes you. Now, that's a debate whether that should be illegal or not, but it's still legal. So as 19-year-old, he was taking kratom and someone had spiked fentanyl in it where he got the kratom from, and he died of an overdose. And it's so tragic. And so this bill will allow people to have fentanyl test strips to test to see if fentanyl is present. Right now, there's no way to tell until it's too late. But fentanyl test strips are illegal in Florida because they're considered drug paraphernalia. So we have a bill that's pending, and I think it's going to pass. And I think perhaps nothing that I've done will have a more immediate and greater impact on saving lives than that. And so I'm proud of that. And that is a bill that has bipartisan support, and it would have saved Eli's life and will save many others.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave, why don't you spend a couple of minutes and talk about the size of your office? I don't think people realize how many attorneys you have in your office and what goes on there.
Well, when we're fully staffed, we have 120 prosecutors, 220 support staff, and about 40 volunteers in 5 offices around the county. The closest office to you all is the one on Atlantic Avenue, right there at the courthouse. We have an office. If you go in there, it's very different than our main office. That courthouse is huge, and it's not nearly as crowded as our offices or the courthouse downtown West Palm. By the way, if you go to the courthouse on Atlantic Avenue, that's where you do some hearings, but there are no trials. You will not see any jury boxes there. And that's because you cannot constitutionally have trials in the South County Courthouse, because under the 6th Amendment of the Constitution, defendants have a right to a jury of their peers. And the courts have said that it is not a jury of your peers unless it's a cross section of the whole community, and the whole community is Palm Beach County. So if you live in South County and the only people who are on your jury are people who live in Delray, Boca, Boynton, then according to the courts, that's not a true cross section of the county. Same thing if there's a courthouse in Belle Glade. If you commit a crime in Belle Glade, that's not a cross section of the whole county, just people who live in Belle Glade, Pahokee, and so forth. So that's why the only place you can have trials in this county is in downtown West Palm Beach. That's the only courthouse of the 5 in the county that has jury boxes. And that's why when you get called to jury duty, that's why you get called up to West Palm Beach and you don't get to go nearby in Atlantic Avenue. You can blame the 6th Amendment of the Constitution for that.
So why can't you have a jury pool of the county, but have them come down South County and North County and Belle Glade?
I guess you could. I mean, I guess you could. You could, as long as you recruit from the whole county. But the those courthouses, were built just for hearings, and so the infrastructure is there with the big jury room. That's all. It's only in West Palm Beach. Those courthouses can't accommodate hundreds of people to sit in one room and then do juries. But I guess you could. You could say to people in Tequesta, you have to come down to Delray. I guess one feeling is that if you tell people, that everyone has to come down to Delray then that's the courthouse where you have trials, then maybe they're less likely to show up. But the court said you have to do it in West Palm, in where the county seat is, in the middle of the county.
Okay, any other questions for Dave before I ask another one?
Sure.
Dave,
You go ahead and then I can follow you maybe.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning, Dave. As you know,
Hi, good morning. How are you, Christina?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
You missed an action-packed meeting on Monday with Criminal Justice Commission. You and just for the audience to know, you and me and Chief Sims all sit on this board together. And we had a robust discussion about this reduced bail situation. And
yeah, that was one of those few times I had a competing event at 8 a.m. that day, so I had to miss the meeting. How did that one turn out?
Well, I tried to give as much pushback as I could, that it would only be for nonviolent, victimless crimes, that any bail reduction would ever be considered. It would never involve a child, never involve a gun, nothing like that. And there's pushback from other members that want to see that. So we hope that we have your support in keeping criminals behind bars when they need to be.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. One area where my office has stood strong, and because it's Craig Williams and others, is that when it comes to bail, we think that we disagree with New York, with LA, some of the prosecutors, these new reform-minded prosecutors who say, hey, no cash bail, let people back on the streets and let the county make sure they promise to attend their hearings. That's not a good thing for public safety when you are letting people who've committed victim crimes back on the streets without any requirement, without skin in the game to show up. They can say, yes, I promise I'll show up, I promise. And look, they've got 5 other failures to appear. They've got a long rap sheet. Well, what do you think is going to happen? And I think that's one of the reasons why you have seen this spike in crime in certain places. Like, we don't have that run on businesses like they do in LA, where shoplifting rings are out there who are organized and shoplifting up to $950. We don't have that here in Palm Beach County. And I think the reason is that you have a sheriff and you have police chiefs like Chief Sims who have said, no, we're not going to put up with this. And you have a state attorney's office. And, we have done some reasonable reforms. As Christina says, if there's a non-violent, non-victim, non-burglary crime, we'll look at temporarily reducing some of the bail, some of the bonds during COVID. We've done that. We have entered into certain criminal justice reform ideas. We've done some of those things. But when it comes to public safety, where you're going to eliminate cash bail like they've done in other places, that's not going to happen here. When you're going to turn a blind eye to shoplifting, that's not going to happen here. And I think that's why you don't see the spikes in crime that you've seen in other places. Doesn't mean we're immune from it, but I think the policies here and the people here have stood against that, and that's why you don't see it for the most part.
Well, thank you so much for your support with that, Dave. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. And by the way, the people proposing that and pushing it, they are not reading the room. I mean, they have to see the anger out there around the country. I mean, in New York, after New York State passed major bail reform where they eliminated cash bail, the people behind that all got thrown out. The district attorneys lost for that, who supported that. So, you know, like, read the room, man.
Good point. Thank you.
Sure.
So following up with that, Dave, sometimes in Delray we have these vagrants and homeless people and who are generally bothering and loitering and doing all sorts of bad things on the street, and the police pick them up and take them to the courthouse, and somehow they always get re-released into the community within 24 hours. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, people have a right to bond, to get out a pretrial release. And if it's not a serious crime, they're going to get something very little, maybe a supervised release or OR. And so they go right back out pending their trial. And then the crime they're charged with is minor. And so there's this revolving door. So we will prosecute these cases, though. In fact, we were prosecuting panhandling cases, and I got criticized. There was a letter to the editor from a group that is an advocacy group for panhandlers, and they wrote a scathing letter to the editor about how I personally am prosecuting these cases, and the court has ordered us to stop. And then there was apparently there's going to be an article, I don't know, where he's bashing us again because we have refused to stop. Well, the court did order that we can no longer prosecute panhandling cases. The court did order that, and we have reviewed the order, and so we're not going to be able to prosecute these panhandling cases. And so a lot of times our hands are tied. And so we will do what we can do under the law. We don't create the law, we enforce the law. And then it's up to judges to help us keep people behind bars by putting out a good sentence. But, we don't create the jail sentences, that's the judges. And so Chief Sims and I are limited in what we can do, but we can just do our jobs to the best of our abilities and hope the other players in the criminal justice system take it from there.
Can I make a comment on that? Just from the perspective that I come from, the vast majority of folks that come into the criminal justice system have a mental health or substance abuse issue. We know that. And I think that there are other things out there. And if we don't address the treatment issue, if we don't get folks help, those issues stay. And if if we continue to have folks that are struggling with mental health and addiction, we're going to continue to have folks that are going to be engaging in activity that's criminal. We have in every county central receiving systems that are willing, that the police can drop folks off to, our officers, law enforcement drop folks off to in lieu of in lieu of incarceration. And those central receiving systems are systems that are designed to connect people to the right level of care and services so that they can get the help that they need, so that they can get healthy and we can have a better community. And I think that, seeing those kind of services expand would be, would help us see those folks off the street more. One of the big needs I think we have in this county is for homeless housing and every, housing, especially now with the price of housing going up, housing folks that are have mental health conditions and addiction issues and are homeless. It's a big deal for us.
I want to add to that. It's a fair point. The largest mental health provider in the county is the jail. We lost the Jerome Golden Center, and that reduced the number of beds available. So we really are hurting in that area. And a lot of those people who do what's called quality of life crimes do have mental illness. Unfortunately, the only way they can often get treatment is if they are arrested and then given either time in the jail, which is, like I said, the largest mental health provider.
It is.
Or sent to a facility, and unfortunately there aren't enough beds. So that's why you see, David, to your point, the revolving door.
Okay. Any other questions for Dave before I let him go back to protecting us in the county. No further questions? Well, Dave, thanks again so much for taking time out to speak to us here in Delray. Really appreciate it, and hope to come back and see us again soon.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I really appreciate it, and for your nice comments in the chat. Thank you all very much.
Okay, any other last comments by anybody before we say
Yes.
happy Friday?
Yeah, I like to, it's Chief Sims, how you doing? But I just wanted to, I put it in the chat, but I just wanted to inform you all that we are receiving a boat from the Sheriff's Department. Got approved through the commission on the 1st. We should be picking that boat up on sometime next week, hopefully. That would allow us to patrol the waterways. We also got the approval for to apply for a grant that would give us our second boat that would allow us, which is an all-purpose boat that would allow us to not only patrol the ocean, the intracoastal waterways, but the lake out parks and the canals alike. So the goal of the agency is to get a marine unit in place so we can address some of the issues that we've been experiencing along our waterways.
Thank you, Chief. That's great news. Any other last comments? Okay, we hope to see you again for the first Friday Forum in April. Look in your mailbox. We'll give you an update on who's going to be speaking. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.